Good morning, everyone. Lee Henson, president and founder of AgileDad, and welcome to today's episode of the Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. This week, we're having a lot of fun. We're playing MythBusters. So our third myth of the week, Humpday. Here we go. Agility is a best practice for everyone, everywhere, no matter what. We'll call this super agile, dun, 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 right? And what I can tell you is this could not be further from the truth. Here we go. So I can tell you firsthand, I've picked up lots of Agile books, whether it's Agile for Dummies or Scrum for Dummies or any of the essential manuals that I pick up, and they tell you that, Agile applies to large, complex, or Scrum applies to large, complex, projects and products, and Agile applies there too, and that this should be applied to everything that you do no matter what, and that if you look at SAFe, there's SAFe for small business, SAFe for mid-sized business, SAFe for enterprise, SAFe agility, SAFe agile, SAFe scrum master, release train engineer, portfolio management engineer. There's SAFe for American Indians born on a Wednesday with an O-negative blood type. I mean, it's gotten so out of hand with how many different rituals and people can apply agility across, everyone, everywhere. This is a what do you call it? A duct tape. Agility is the duct tape of enterprise organization. That sounds like another good episode. We'll have to do that one later. But the point here is Agile is not a best practice for everyone everywhere. In fact, it should never be applied blindly. Teams need to identify and analyze the problems they're trying to solve and assess whether agility is the right answer. In fact, if you read the AgileDad 12-step program, step 1 in the 12-step program, step number 1 says, as an organization, have you identified why you're doing Agile, what problem you're trying to solve, and how Agile is going to solve the problem, right? I mean, why Agile is real. And I think that people just don't take time to answer that question. This should be a solution, not a starting point or an end point. It shouldn't be, okay, we're going to start doing the Agile. That automatically makes this one a myth. And I think I'm going to give you a bonus here. I think I'm going to tie it into number 4 and make number 4 today as well. Number 4 says agility is applied in the same way across an entire organization. I think these two really go well together. So it's for everyone everywhere, and it should be applied exactly the same way across your organization. That if you get out your little chart and you follow along with a diagram, whether it's the SAFe diagram or the Scrum diagram or the LESS diagram, I don't care which one it is, but that you should be able to just look through and say, this is the starting point, this is the ending point, and if you're doing these 6 things, you're going to have success. Wow, that's not true either. Different parts of your organization are going to benefit from Agile in different ways. I think that everyone goes through a phase of blueprinting where they're trying to identify value streams and how they're going to benefit and what should be applied and what terminology we're going to use and what we're going to call things and what tool we're going to use, heaven forbid. It's amazing to me to see how much effort organizations put into trying to make this exactly the same across the organization, when the true benefit of Agile lies in trying to loosely set up a framework and be flexible across the organization to make sure that it applies in more cases than it doesn't. So for the top one, agility is the best practice for everyone everywhere. I'm going to go on record and say, fact, agility is a best practice for everyone, period. No matter what your role is, no matter what your responsibilities are, it's a good idea for you to think in an Agile way. It's a good idea for you to apply Agile in such a way that you ask yourself, does this make sense? Is this the direction we're trying to go? Does this resonate? And I think that more times than not, we don't take the time to try to figure that out, right? And we don't take time to introspect or to retrospect with our teams. And when you do that and you don't know going forward what problems you're trying to solve and what direction you're trying to take things, that blinds you and causes you to just either A, blame Agile for your bad behavior, or B, not apply Agile because of your bad behavior. So for me, I think that, so back to the drawing board, is Agile a best practice for everyone? You bet. I think if we start thinking in a more Agile way, start behaving in a more Agile way, that as a person we'll be a better human being, that we can apply things across the board and that people will benefit everywhere. Now, should Agile be applied everywhere? The answer is absolutely not, right? There's just some places where Agile doesn't belong. And I think that everyone will discover those as they go through and do an assessment. More times than not, Agile applies, but I don't think it's an everyone, everywhere solution. It's an everyone solution, but certainly not an everywhere solution, right? And I think that if you look at it that way, it's going to make a whole lot more sense. And that's the whole purpose, once again, behind a 12-step program. It helps you go through 12 definitive questions that you can ask yourself and figure out how Agile is being applied in your organization and whether or not it makes sense, right? And as far as applied the same way across an entire organization, I can't tell you how many times I've said, Agile is not Spandex. It's not to be put everywhere and stretched out and force fed. It's not an opportunity for you to force feed someone, Agile either, and tie them up and force feed them until they confess that Agile is the answer or whatever you're trying to do. It's not foie gras, right? We need to make sure. I just had that visualization. That's awful. But we need to make sure that we are trying to help people understand that even though Agile can be the answer, that each value stream is going to benefit differently from application of business agility. You need to figure out what is going to be the valuable steps to take in any transformation, regardless of Agile or not. But I think it's important for you to identify, and this is where we really emphasize grow. What is your goal? My goal is to achieve greater presence. Great. What's our reality? What are our options and what will we commit to do? And when you do those things, only then will you discover that while Agile is a strong framework and the framework can be applied across the organization, building that Agile center of excellence will allow you to quickly discover that as the organization grows, that different groups are going to apply it a little bit differently. And are you ready for this? That's okay. It's not an issue, right? As long as you have some standardization across the board, I think it's perfectly fine for the organization to embrace Agile a little differently. Well, there you have it for today's edition. I hope this was beneficial to you. As always, we encourage you to send your ideas to learn more at AgileDad.com. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Do take care.